Alright guys, Tactical Bit here today, and if you missed yesterday, the final pre-CWL Las Vegas online tournament was concluded. And that's not really the right phrasing, but regardless, OpTic Gaming came home with a victory, and CWL Las Vegas begins December the 6th with the play-in tournament for the pool play. The final 4 slots in each pool, if you're not aware, or 4 slots across the pools, and then the 5th slot will be filled by an open bracket team, but we'll go through that throughout the video today. So today I basically want to go through the results and talk about kind of how this will influence potentially the power rankings which are coming out from Call of Duty Gamepedia, of which I am proudly a part, tonight, or hopefully tonight. And tomorrow, I'll ideally have a video breaking down those power rankings and looking at some betting odds, because I don't usually do something like that, but I saw some quite interesting ones on Reddit, and I thought tomorrow it'd be a good time looking at the power rankings to talk through some odds that you can put some money on if you're from the correct regions, because I'm not sure you can do it in the States or maybe other countries, but in the UK, if you're over 18, of course, you certainly can. And so yeah, I'll go through that tomorrow. But today we're going to talk about everything that went on in the 2Ks and of course how this Pro Down shaped up. So like if you enjoy, subscribe if you are new as always. So first of all, I guess we should go through the 2K. So we'll start with the APAC region, as is tradition. Mindfreak managed to win this one out. If we look at the scoreboards here, like it's just a classic really. Mindfreak and Tainted Minds are far and away seem to be the best teams in this. Tainted Minds actually had a hard time against this Vertex squad. Oh, okay, Immense Killer Pie. You know, these are guys you might have heard of if you've followed Australian Call of Duty for, you know, a few years. And, okay, it looks like Mindfreak just walked it all the way through the finals without losing a map, which I guess is what you'd expect at this point. Both these teams are in the play-in tournament. So, just to make this clear, a couple of weeks ago I did a video on the pool play. So, the top 12 teams from the World War II season in terms of pro points, they were put into the 4 pools, like slotted into 1, 2, 3, pretty much on a random basis. So after the top 12 in pro points, the next 8 teams are playing in a double elimination tournament, as you can see here, on December the 6th, before the real tournament, as is tradition, starts on Friday the 7th. So these are the teams we're looking out for. Mindfreak and Tainted Minds are here. These are the rosters if you're not fully aware of them. And as we go through the other 2Ks, we will get to these other rosters, including the interesting straight rip-in pickup of Spacely's squad, which is expected to do very well. And of course, let's not forget the Pittsburgh Knights picking up Parasite's team. So, go on to the European region. A very interesting turnout in Europe. Not what I expected. When I saw this result, I was like, oh, I guess the theoretically better teams, they didn't compete this week. But yeah, iDominate Esports come up with the victory in the 2K. I believe someone on Reddit said this is the first time the Italians have ever won a 2K, which is really cool to see, you know. It's the Call of Duty Global Pro League. It's lovely to see competition and good teams from various regions. So, you know, maybe they won't do much on LAN, but the Spanish have shown their stuff over the last couple of years, the French in years past, and obviously we have good players from all regions of the UK, and Ireland we have maybe 2 guys that are relevant. Fair enough. So, okay, iDominate come out top. Movistar Riders, they come in second. They're Spanish. Then you have Black Forest Games. Team Sween, probably one of the favourites. I believe they won in the first 2K. They come in 3rd through 4th. The real favourites here going into Vegas. So, if we want to look through these squads, Lightning Pandas, of course, that picked up the Alex, Dave, Josh, Magcat and PT squad. Their jerseys look really fresh. I really like them. So, hopefully they'll do well. They come top 16 here. So does Team Divine, which is Null, Kreza, Delio, also known as Zerg, Nevo and Bid. So, you know, kind of a mishmash of players it seems there. But, you know, we look at this play-in and Team Divine, we find them here. And, of course, Imperial, which is Denza, Hawkey, Moose, Reedy, Vortex, they also didn't get on too well this week. They were down. Okay, now here they are. Okay, so they came top 8, but a little bit of a weird situation. We often get this in Europe, where online results can just be crazy. Heretics, who won in the last 2 times, they come top 16 here. So do Pandas, so do Divine, so do Gong Gaming. These are all potentially favourites. Heretics are at least favourites to do well out of the guys in this 2K. Heretics aren't in the play-in, unfortunately, so they'll be going through Open. Gong Gaming, which is Endurance team, they will be going through the play-in bracket. And then Imperial is effectively old Epsilon. We have Moose from that Unilad team at the start of last year. And of course Denver as well, who came top 12 at Champ. So definitely a lot of talent here that could potentially do something at Vegas. But this 2K doesn't really point to what direction we're thinking of. Like how good actually are Lightning Pandas based on this result. I didn't get too much opportunity to watch the games. But of course, it's online Call of Duty. How much can you really read? Let's go on to the North American 2K. We have Mosh, Asim, Phantoms, Tish, and Gravity win the 2K. This seems like a similar thing to Europe, to be quite honest with you. Straight ripping. Have won the last week's one because they didn't compete in the Pro Down, and again this week they come third this time, losing to this team that ended up winning. Phantoms, Tish, and Gravity, or maybe it was Phantoms and Gravity, were on the Conquest Esports team that took a map off OpTic at Champs, or at least came very close to doing so. So definitely a talent there, but unexpected to say the least. It's a straight ripping. This organisation picking up this squad. They come fourth, it's very solid. You're expecting these guys to do really well at Vegas. I'd be very surprised if they don't get out this pool play situation. I'll just get rid of the rosters for a second. So, straight ripping are definitely got to be up there with my favourites. Maybe I'll just go through my favourites now for getting through this, so I don't have to touch on it tomorrow, because Vegas obviously starts on Thursday. So, yeah, straight ripping I'd say would get through based on online stuff. I really like the look of this this Parasite squad. It's effectively the old Ghost Gaming team from last year, plus Lacefield, or no, plus Theory, sorry. And, wow, yeah, so they showed some great promise. So I think these guys and straight ripping will get through. I'm looking at the other squads. I'm not too convinced on any of them. I think Mind Freak will make it, and then I want to see one of the European guys. Maybe I'll be a bit biased, because this UU team, they may be decent, but I guess I'll put my money on Imperial, Mind Freak, Knights, and Straight Ripping. That's where my money's going right now, but we'll have to see how things go. Not too many other notable players and organisations of note in here, because they were all playing in the CMG Gaming Pro Down. Here are the results. OpTic Gaming come in first once again, and I actually wrote down the map counts here, because I know maybe you guys have been keeping track of the map count over last year and over this year. So, I have a little note sheet for me. Last year, over the 4 2Ks they played. Now, this year was a little bit different, considering last year there was 4 2Ks in which the first several rounds, you basically just play against randoms. And it's just an easy 3-0 for a competent team if you're trying. This year, or at least in these last 2 CMG Gaming Pro Downs of the last couple of weeks, these are the teams you're playing against. It's very difficult not to lose maps when you don't get a load of free wins. So take these comparisons with a little bit of a grain of salt. But OpTic definitely haven't been as dominant as of late. The reason why these teams are playing the Pro Down is effectively because of that reason, that you don't want to be wasting hours on end playing against teams that you know you're going to win against anyway in order to get to the real deal. This is really just about practice, and for that reason, not many teams were streaming it. I think this was to the detriment of the fans to some extent that were watching. They wanted to see someone streaming it, and okay, some of the players were, OpTic Gaming definitely were, but it would have been nice for CMG to sort out some sort of stream. I think maybe in last week's, or maybe I think it was 2 weeks ago, everyone was streaming that at the time, so CMG maybe didn't feel like, okay, yeah, we need a stream here. But UMG, when they've done events like that in the past, they have a stream up. I don't know who CMG would have got to cast it, to be honest, considering all the MLG guys are, contracted to MLG, and Merc was actually casting the 2K final rather than doing this, I think, which, is what more people would want to watch, of course. And Lando's contracted to UMG. Dirk is now back on the MLG team. So I don't know who you'd get. Maybe someone like Fox. You could get even Rich or something like that to cast it in future weeks, because it would be nice to actually be able to watch all these matches. But the pros, unsurprisingly, unwilling to stream when it's the best practice they're going to get before Vegas, and everyone's going to be watching their tendencies if they do stream it live. So anyway, let's get back to OpTic Gaming's map count. Last year, they totaled in at 104-8 in terms of map count over the first 4 2Ks before CWL Dallas at the time. Pretty solid. This year they're 94-11. So the first 2Ks, the first 2 2Ks, they went 54-2. In the last Pro Down, they went 20-2, and this Pro Down, they went 20-7. So they actually lost a fair few maps here, which definitely indicates that a lot of teams are starting to catch them up, which makes things really interesting in terms of Vegas. If OpTic were completely dominant online, then you'd say, okay, well, they're the clear favourites anyway, but you would say going into it, okay, like, maybe it's just crazy online stuff. Who knows who's going to be able to compete? Whereas now we have a good idea of teams catching up, especially 100 Thieves. And what's really interesting is that Red Reserve and Reciprocity come top 4, both of them in this tournament, which I find really impressive. Of course, it's online stuff, but these are long series. They play best of 7s in the winners bracket, best of 5s in the lower bracket, and damn, this is impressive to see, especially considering these guys haven't had the practice in North America that some of these other teams have. So definitely an impressive situation for them. 100T came second last week as well, or this is 2 weeks ago, I keep saying last week. These are results 2 weeks ago. 100T came second to OpTic again. Splice were in the mix. This time they're a little bit further down at top 12. LG as well, down here at top 12. So those guys seem to have regressed a little bit, but definitely still look better than, well, at least LG look better than at the start of the game. I hope Splice will still do well, because I kind of like that team as little bit of a villain. Envy come top 6 again, seems to be pretty consistent with that. United came top 6 this week and they didn't actually play it. I'm not 100% sure the reasons for that, but you know, they didn't play this week, so we can't really assess exactly how they were doing. And then Parasite's team comes top 6 with Envy. Pretty impressive stuff. G2 and FaZe here at top A. And then EG surprisingly good at 12. Like, I mean, they could have easily been in this top 16 category, but then again, like, who is there really to beat here, apart from the S&D Stars and Shotzi and then Killer's team? So, if you're not coming top 12 in this scenario, with these as your top 16, then, you know, you're definitely struggling. So, a very interesting circumstance we have on our hands. OpTic Gaming win every single tournament. Last year they lost the third one, but still had a better map count than this year. We look down at the results here in terms of map count. So OpTic Gaming, they 4-1 EG, 4-1 LG. They lose a couple maps here to Red. I think maybe they were both S&Ds. And Red end up coming through. Reciprocity were really the impressive squad to me, considering, okay, they've just moved to their team house in Vegas, very close to the venue, of course, which is probably going to be good in terms of a travel front, although it's, you know, kind of maybe less important nowadays, but wow, they had really close games against everyone, and I was also kind of impressed by G2. You can see here, G2 edged out Rec by 4-3. Rec sounds such a weird thing to say. Reciprocity I can handle. So 4-3 against them. G2 then won 4-3 against G2. So G2 kind of impressive in terms of, I thought they'd be decent, definitely better than EG, but I wasn't sure they were going to be quite so competitive with a team like 100 Thieves, who seems to kind of be running through everyone bar OpTic right now. Definitely look a lot better in recent times. So Red, they beat Parasite's team 4-2. They end up taking down FaZe. And FaZe end up losing 3-2 to Reciprocity. Look at this, man. Like, 3-2 win, 3-2 win, 3-2 win, 3-1 win against Envy. This is where they really hit their groove, I guess, because Envy definitely a solid team as far as I'm concerned, but Reciprocity managed to edge them out before getting 3-0'd by Red. This is a classic, really. Like, when Red played the other Europeans, like last year, they would always just demolish them. And despite the other Europeans, Unilad at the time, doing really well against the American teams, Red always seemed to have their number. Maybe it seems to be the case this year as well. 100 Thieves won a really tight series with Red to set up a rematch with OpTic, but OpTic win every series again. So the tale of the story, as far as I see it, is that other teams are catching up to OpTic Gaming right now. With Vegas starting, or pools starting in 3 days, OpTic are definitely the favourites going into it, and I'll talk through the power rankings tomorrow. But which team do you reckon will give them their closest challenge? 100 Thieves is definitely my second pick right now, coming second in the CMG Gaming Pro Downs the last 2 weeks. United have definitely got to be up there, and who knows what Red Reserve can do. Guys on this team have had incredibly close and beaten OpTic Gaming at many a time over the last year or so. Now, Reciprocity, you have to be considered a deep underdog here. You have 3 of the 4 Unilab players from last year, plus Tommy, a fantastic leader, with Dens, with all the support their organisation's giving them, a fantastic org, it seems, Reciprocity, if you're not fully in tune with their involvement in Call of Duty. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new, and keep tuned into the channel for the coming days, because I'm going to try and make the most content I possibly can for Vegas, try and do a video every single day if my schedule allows for it. So thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.